And welcome back to Do I Need a Lawyer? I'm your host, Gary Martin Hayes. And look, if you have a question that you would like for me to answer on our show, just email me, Gary@GaryMartinHayes.com. Or if you have a question you'd like for me to answer right away, give us a call, 770-934-8000. The call is free, completely confidential. Now let's go to our next question from one of our viewers. Hi, Gary. Love your show and thanks for taking my question. My dad was driving on the interstate and a guy driving a tractor trailer hit the rear of my dad's car. It spun his car around and he crashed into the median. He spent the night in the hospital due to his injuries. My dad asked me, do I need a lawyer? I told him yes. What do you think? I think you're correct, and I would highly recommend that you and your dad contact a lawyer and do it right now. And I'll talk about car wrecks involving tractor trailers in just a moment and address that question a little bit more. But let me start off by saying the men and women that are out there driving tractor trailers, they are extremely important to our economy. Most are very conscientious professionals. They care about how they drive their tractor trailers. They care about how they maintain their tractors and trailers. And they make sure that whatever they're pulling is operating in the safest condition. Unfortunately, not all of them perform that way all of the time. And some people refer to tractor trailers as 40 tons of death on wheels, and for good reason. As large as these trucks are, even a relatively low-impact collision can often lead to serious injuries or even death. A typical fully loaded tractor trailer can weigh over 80,000 pounds, while an average passenger automobile weighs only approximately 3,000 pounds. So getting back to your question, will your dad be able to take on the tractor trailer, the insurance company, and their lawyers by himself, especially when he's trying to recuperate from his injuries? Now, look, claims against a trucking company can be very complex, and they have many legal issues that need to be investigated right away. If you don't act quickly, the evidence against the trucking company, the truck driver, it could all be lost. Let me give you an example. Federal law requires truck drivers to keep a log of their hours. This log reflects the total time that they've been driving, when they start their day, all stops along the way, and it certifies that they've inspected their vehicles. These logs can also be used as evidence that the driver was speeding between his last stop and where the wreck occurred, or that he suffered from driver fatigue because of the number of hours he spent on the road. Now, how long are these drivers required to keep these driver's logs? Well, under federal regulations, they are only required to keep the logs for 6 months, unless an attorney takes action to secure them. So if we are hired on the claim, we immediately send the trucking company and their insurance company a letter that tells them, you better not destroy this driver's log, because this is important evidence for our client's claim. Now let me give you some other factors that we investigate when taking on the trucking companies. We look to see how well the tractor and the trailer are maintained. Federal law requires these companies to keep their equipment in proper working order and to keep records regarding this maintenance. When these trucks and the trailers that they pull are properly maintained, it helps prevent brake failures and tire blowouts. And keep in mind, in order to drive these big trucks, the drivers must have a commercial driver's license. Plus, these trucking companies, they must use strict standards when they hire these truck drivers. And they must continue to supervise the drivers to make sure they're not operating their rigs in an unsafe manner. Now look, I'm a big advocate of defensive driving, so I'm going to give you some tips to try and prevent these injuries on the highway and avoid these accidents from ever happening altogether. So the number one tip, drive with caution around trucks on the road. Remember, they cannot stop on a dime, so don't pull in front of one and assume they can safely stop in time. Number two, stay visible to the truck driver. If the truck driver can't see you, problems can happen. If you can't see the driver's mirrors, chances are he can't see you. Number three, pay attention to the truck's turn signals and don't travel for long periods of time near tractor trailers. Now look, if you or a family member is involved in a tractor trailer wreck, the single most important piece of advice I can give you is this: call a lawyer. And if you don't call us, please call someone, but call someone that is a specialist in handling tractor trailer claims, someone that has experience handling these types of claims. It is a bad idea for you to try and take on the insurance company, the trucking company, and all of their lawyers by yourself, especially when you or your loved one is trying to recuperate from the injuries. So if you or a loved one has been injured because of a tractor trailer driver, I encourage you, just pick up the phone and give us a call right now. The call is free, completely confidential. There's no obligation. 770-934-8000. Don't put it off. Don't put it off. Our legal professionals are standing by right now to answer your questions. 770-934-8000. Or you can email me, Gary@GaryMartinHayes.com. You can also go to our website, GaryMartinHayes.com. It's loaded with information about personal injury claims. And again, it's free, completely confidential. So be safe out on the highways. Watch out for these tractor trailer drivers. And if we can help you, by all means, please give us a call. 770-934-8000. And stay tuned for more of Do I Need a Lawyer? We'll be back in just a few moments.